I am going to tell you about a strength the whole modern world has thrown away, and thrown away so completely that most people no longer even know it is missing. It is patience, not the small patience of waiting in a line without complaining. I mean the deep kind, the old kind, the kind that can plant a seed and trust the dark ground for a whole season. The kind that knows every single thing worth having is slow, and that hurry is a thief that steals the very thing you are chasing. Your world has taught you the opposite. It has taught you that waiting is losing, that slow is weak, that anything worth having you should be able to have right now, tonight, before you finish wanting it. And I will tell you plainly as an old man who has watched where that road leads. That teaching is a lie, and it is costing people their whole lives. I am not saying this to scold you. I was the most impatient young man you ever saw. I wanted the harvest before I had finished the planting. I resented every slow thing, every winter, every wait. It took me most of my life to learn what the old ones knew as children. So stay with me. Sit down. Let the phone go quiet in your hand. The old ones knew 6 things about patience, and by the time I have laid all 6 in front of you, the slow things in your life may start to look like gifts instead of burdens. Let me give you the first. The first teaching is this. Everything of real worth is slow. The fast things are cheap, and they perish. The slow things endure. Go out to the woods after a warm rain and look at the mushroom. It came up overnight. In a single evening, it pushed up out of nothing, fully grown, and there it stands, proud and quick. And in a day, maybe 2, it is gone. It rots back into the ground it sprang from. It was fast, and it was cheap, and it did not last. Now put your hand on the oak. That tree took 100 years to become what it is. 100 slow years, 1 ring at a time, growing so slowly you could stand and watch it all day and never see it move. And it will stand 1,000 years. It will shade your grandchildren's grandchildren. The slowness is not the price of the oak. The slowness is the strength of it. I knew a man named Homer who wanted only fast things, fast money, fast friendships, fast success. He got them too. And they rotted like the mushroom every time, because nothing that comes up overnight has any roots. He spent his whole life planting mushrooms and wondering why he had no oaks. My grandfather said it this way. He said, "What comes quick, leaves quick. What is worth having makes you wait for it. If a thing came to you easily and fast, hold it loosely, for it will likely go the same way it came. But the thing you had to wait long years for, that thing has roots." The second teaching is about trust, about the work that happens where your eyes cannot follow it. The old ones knew the corn. When you plant the seed, you cover it over, and then for a long while, nothing. You come out and look, and there is only bare dirt. Day after day, bare dirt. It would be easy to believe that nothing is happening at all, but you would be wrong. Down in the dark, where you cannot see, that seed is doing its most important work. It is putting down roots. It is cracking open. It is reaching slowly in the black soil, long before it ever shows one green blade to the sun. Patience is trusting that unseen work. It is believing in the growing you cannot yet see. I knew a man named Silas who could not trust it. He planted his seeds and then, sick with impatience, he could not leave them alone. He would go out and dig them up, just to see, just to check, are you growing? Are you doing anything down there? And every time he dug them up to check, he broke the tender roots and covered them back over and killed the very crop he was so anxious to see. His hurry murdered the thing he wanted most. My grandmother had a saying she gave to every impatient child. She said, "You cannot pull the corn up to make it grow faster. You will only kill it. Some things you must leave in the dark and trust. Your hurry does not help them. Your hurry only breaks the roots." Now, before I give you the third teaching, stay right here. Do not walk away. The next ones are the deepest, and the 6th in particular is the one the old ones built their whole lives around. I gathered all of this the long, slow way, over more winters than I can count, and I wrote it down so it would not die with me. But that can wait. Right now, stay with me. Let me keep going. The third teaching is for anyone who was ever told that patience is weakness. It is not. It is the strongest thing there is. Look at the canyon. Look at how deep the stone is carved. Straight down through solid rock, a person could not scratch with an iron tool. What carved that? Not a hammer. Not a great and violent blow. Water. Only water. Soft, patient water. One drop at a time. For 10,000 years. Never stopping, never hurrying. Just coming and coming and coming. The softest thing in the whole canyon carved the hardest, not by force, but by never once giving up. That is patience. It is not the weak thing. It is the slow, soft, unstoppable thing. The hard hammer strikes once and is done. The patient water outlasts the mountain. I knew a man named Alton who spent his young years believing that the strong and the fast and the loud always won. And he lost again and again to quieter men who simply did not stop. It humbled him. Late in his life, he told me, "I finally understand. The patient man buries the strong one, not by being stronger, but by still being there when the strong one has worn himself out and gone." My grandfather put it just so. He said, "It is not the hard hammer that wins in the end. It is the soft water that never stops coming." Be the water, my friend. Do not measure your strength by how hard you can strike. Measure it by how long you can keep on. The fourth teaching is one you will need for the cold seasons of your life, and everyone gets them. The old ones did not curse the winter. This is a hard thing for your hurried world to hear. They knew that the field must lie fallow, that the ground must rest, empty and cold and seeming dead, or it will have nothing to give in the spring. The winter is not the enemy of the harvest. The winter is part of the harvest. The rest is what makes the growing possible. So when the cold season came into a life, the empty years, the still years, the years where nothing seems to be happening and no fruit is showing, the old ones did not panic and tear at the frozen ground. They trusted. They knew the seed was only sleeping, not dead. They knew the field was resting, not ruined. I knew a woman named Marion who had a long, cold, empty stretch in the middle of her life. Years where nothing grew, where she felt forgotten and fallow and useless. And because her world had never taught her patience, she believed those years were the end of her, that she was finished, that nothing good would ever come again. But she was wrong. Those empty years were doing quiet work in her, the way winter works a field. And what grew in her afterward, the depth, the kindness, the wisdom, could only have grown from ground that had rested that long. She just did not know it while she was in it. My grandmother used to hold a cold seed in her open hand and say, "Do not curse the winter. The seed is only sleeping. It is not dead." If you are in a cold and empty season right now, hear her. You are not finished. You are fallow. And the fallow field is the one that feeds the whole village next year. The fifth teaching is a warning about hurry itself and what it steals. The old ones knew that a life is not somewhere you are going. It is the ground you are walking on right now. And the great danger of hurry is that it makes you miss the only life you have, because you are always somewhere up ahead in your mind, rushing toward the next thing, and never once here, where you are actually alive. Think of a man on a fast horse, galloping across a wide and beautiful country, rivers and red rock and grass moving like water, and birds rising up in front of him, and he crosses the whole of it at a dead run, eyes fixed only on the far horizon, and when he reaches the other side and someone asks him, "What was the country like?" he cannot say. He crossed all that beauty and saw none of it because he was in too much of a hurry to arrive. I knew a woman named Pearl who lived her whole life on that fast horse, always rushing to the next thing, the next task, the next year. She hurried through her children's small years to reach their school years, and hurried through those to reach their grown years, and hurried through her own middle life to reach her rest. And when at last she was old and slowed down and finally looked behind her, she could not remember any of it. 50 years had gone by at a gallop, and she could not describe a single day of them. She had crossed the whole beautiful country of her own life and seen almost none of it. Slow down. The life is not up ahead. The life is the ground under you right now. This ordinary day, this cup, this face across the table. Hurry past it, and you will arrive at the far side of your years with nothing to remember. Walk it slowly, and every mile is yours to keep. The sixth teaching gathers up all the others, and it is the deepest patience there is. The old ones planted trees whose shade they knew they would never sit in. Think about that. An old man, bones tired, back bent, going out to plant an orchard he understood, with perfect clarity, he would not live to see bear fruit. That is patience so deep it reaches past your own death. That is doing slow, good work for hands you will never shake. I knew a man named Dale who did exactly this. At 80 years old, Dale went out and planted a whole orchard. And a young man passing by laughed at him gently and said, "Old man, why plant these? You will never taste a single apple from these trees." And Dale kept digging, and he said, without even looking up, "Someone planted the tree I have eaten from all my life. They never met me. They never tasted their own fruit either. They planted for a stranger they would never see. Today I am that stranger's hands, keeping the chain unbroken." My grandfather said the truest thing about patience I ever heard. He said, "A man plants his best trees for hands he will never shake. The whole world you were born into, the shade you have sat in, the wells you have drunk from, the wisdom you were handed, all of it was planted by patient people who did the slow work knowing they would never see the harvest. They did it for you, a stranger, not yet born. The only honest way to thank them is to plant the same way for the ones who come after you. That is the inheritance I am handing you tonight. Not speed, not shortcuts. The old, deep, holy patience that trusts the dark ground, blesses the cold winter, outlasts the hard hammer, and plants good trees for hands it will never shake. Now let me gather the 6 teachings together, the way my grandmother gathered her herbs before the first snow came, so you can carry them out of here in one basket instead of 6. The first, everything good is slow. Remember the mushroom that rots and the oak that stands, and Homer, who kept only mushrooms. The second, trust the work you cannot see. Remember the corn growing in the dark and Silas, who dug up his seeds and killed them by his hurry. The third, patience is not weakness. It is the slow, soft, unstoppable strength. Remember the water that carved the canyon, and Alton, who learned the patient man outlasts the strong. The fourth, do not curse the cold season. Remember the fallow field, and Marion, and the seed that is only sleeping, not dead. The fifth, hurry is how you miss your whole life. Remember Pearl on the fast horse, who crossed the whole beautiful country and could not remember one day of it. And the sixth, the deepest patience plants trees for shade it will never sit in. Remember Dale at 80, keeping the unbroken chain, planting for the stranger who was you. 6 teachings, 1 basket, carry it. I am an old man now, and for most of my years I lived on the fast horse. I hurried. I wanted the harvest before the planting was done. I resented every slow thing and every winter, and I galloped past most of the country of my own life without ever seeing it. I am not in a hurry anymore. Somewhere in these last slow years, I finally learned what the old ones knew as children, that the slow things were the real things all along, that the waiting was never the enemy, that the winters were making me, that the good I could plant now, at the very end for people I will never meet, is the finest work I have left to do, and the most patient love a man can give. So now I take the days slowly, one at a time, the way you drink good water, and I do not gulp them anymore, When my own time comes, I will meet it the way the leaf meets the autumn, not rushing, not fighting the season, just letting the slow, holy turning of things carry me down in its own time, the way it has carried everything that ever lived, patiently, all along. If any of this reached you, I've gathered 20 of these teachings, the 6 I gave you tonight and 14 more I did not have time to say, into a small book called The Native Way. 20 teachings, 100 pages. The link is in the description below this video. Do not rush it. Read one, just one, and sit with it overnight, and let it do its quiet work while you sleep. Before you go, do one thing for me. Name the one person who taught you how to wait. The one who was patient with you when you had not yet learned to be patient with anything. Say their name in the comments, so it is spoken out loud again in this world. And subscribe if you would. Not for me, for yourself. You are part of the people who remember.